You know what I wasted most of my life on? Not drinking or gambling or any of that. Worrying. Just worrying. About things that never even happened.
She's lived through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the invention of the internet. 103 years on this planet. And the one thing she wishes she could take back is the time she spent afraid. Today, I sat down with 5 people who have lived past 100 years old, and I asked them a simple question. What did you worry about that you wish you never had? Their answers might change the way you live tomorrow. Harold is 101. He served in Korea, built a small construction company, raised 4 kids, and the thing that kept him up at night more than any of that.
What the neighbors thought, what my boss thought, what my brother thought about the truck I drove. Can you believe that? I spent decades of my life performing for people who aren't even alive anymore.
How much of your mental energy right now is spent worrying about what someone else might think of you? Your clothes, your career, whether that text sounded weird. Harold's lived long enough to see the punchline.
Nobody was watching. That's what you realize. Everyone was too busy worrying about themselves. The whole thing was a show, and there was no audience.
Researchers who study centenarians have found this pattern over and over again. People who live past 100 tend to score low in neuroticism. They let things go. They don't carry the weight of other people's opinions around with them. And nearly all of them say they wish they'd learned that decades earlier. Margaret just turned 100. She never made more than a modest salary her entire life. She's never owned a home. And she told me something I still think about.
I spent my 30s and 40s terrified that I didn't have enough. Enough money, enough savings, enough stuff. I used to lie awake running the numbers in my head, over and over. And what did it get me? Ulcers. That's what it got me.
Did you ever get the money you were worried about?
Some of it, not all of it. But here's the thing, dear. The money I did get didn't make the worry stop. That's the trick they don't tell you. The worry isn't about the money. The worry is about the worry. It feeds on itself. I wish I had spent that energy living, going places, saying yes to things. Instead, I was saving for a disaster that never came. And the real disaster was all the living I missed while I was waiting.
A study of over 1,500 Americans over 65 found the exact same thing. The number one regret wasn't that they didn't save more. It was that they wasted years in what researchers called mindless, self-destructive worrying. Time they could never get back. Frank is 104. He can't walk without a cane. He can't see well enough to read anymore. And he told me he spent 20 years of his life dreading this exact moment.
From about 50 to 70, I was obsessed with getting old. Every ache, every wrinkle. I was fighting it. Supplements, creams, you name it. I was terrified of becoming this.
And now that you're here?
It's fine. I mean, it's not great. My knees are shot. But the thing is, I'm still here. I'm still me. The person I was so afraid of becoming? He's not so bad. I just wish I'd spent those 20 years enjoying the body I had instead of mourning the one I was losing.
That hits hard if you think about it. How many of us are 25, 30, 40 years old, already dreading what's coming? Already grieving a version of ourselves that hasn't left yet? Frank lived long enough to see that the fear was worse than the thing itself. Most of us never get that clarity. Evelyn was married for 61 years. Her husband passed away 12 years ago. I asked her what she worried about that she wishes she hadn't. She didn't hesitate.
The arguments. The little stupid arguments. Who left the dishes out? Why didn't you call? Why did you say it like that? We had thousands of those. Thousands. And I can't remember a single one now. Not one. But I remember the worry. I remember going to bed angry. I remember thinking, what if this is the fight that ends us?
But it never was.
It never was. 61 years, and not one of those fights mattered. You know what mattered? The morning after, when he'd make coffee and put my cup where I always sat. That's what I remember.
Nearly every centenarian researchers have spoken to says some version of this. The petty conflicts, the grudges, the resentments we carry around like they're keeping us safe. They're not protecting us. They're just making us heavy. And by the time you realize it, the people you were fighting with might not be here anymore.
If I could go back and trade every fight for one more morning with that coffee cup sitting there, I wouldn't even have to think about it.
I went back to Dorothy. She'd been quiet for a while, listening to me describe what the others had said. Then she told me the one that hit me hardest.
I worried so much about making the wrong choice that I stopped making choices at all. There was a man once, after my first husband died, a lovely man. He wanted to travel together. Spain, he said. I said no, not because I didn't want to go, because I was afraid. What if it didn't work out? What if I spent the money and regretted it? What if people talked?
Did you ever go to Spain?
No, I never went anywhere. And he found someone else. And I sat in this house, safe, comfortable. And I thought about Spain every single day for 40 years.
Researchers call this the difference between errors of commission and errors of omission. The things we did wrong versus the things we never tried. And the data is clear. As people get older, they almost always regret the things they didn't do more than the things they did. The risks they didn't take, the trips they didn't book, the words they never said. The worry convinced them to play it safe. And playing it safe became the biggest risk of all. 5 people. Over 500 years of life between them. And they all told me the same thing in different words. The worry wasn't worth it. Not the worry about what people thought. Not the worry about money. Not the fear of getting older, or the small fights, or the safe choices. None of it protected them. It just stole time they'll never get back. So whatever's keeping you up tonight, whatever's running through your head on a loop, ask yourself, will this matter when I'm 100? And if the answer is no, maybe it's time to let it go.
Don't wait until you're my age to stop worrying, sweetheart. You don't have that kind of time.